are the champions of the night. We are the champions of the night. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Do We Drift Esports. My name's Robert Hazeldine and I'll hand you over now to our commentary teams, Zach and Nick.
A massive Monday of motorsport continues, but this time we go from open wheelers to tin tops, and we go from the real world to the sim world, and we go from North America to Asia. It's round 8 of season 2 of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club GT3 series, and we've gone from obviously the previous round at Barber Motorsports Park to a venue that we haven't visited yet this year, Suzuka, Japan. The first of 3 flyaway rounds from North America to round out the season. 3 different continents in as many weeks to bring the curtain down on what's been an awesome championship thus far, with this week leading into, of course, the Imola circuit in Italy next week, and then back to Mount Panorama the week after that. And if last week is any guide, whatever we serve up tonight will have to be pretty bloody good to top what was an awesome 7th round last week. And with that, I welcome in Nico Pop, who's getting ready to steer the Ford GT once more. Nick, good evening to you. Massive night ahead. 45 minutes of great racing on our hands here. If it's anything like last week, we're in for an absolute treat and somewhat appropriate without spoiling. Actually, no, it will spoil the result for those that were watching or didn't get the chance to watch Indianapolis this morning. Somewhat appropriate that our venue tonight is in the land of the rising sun, who are today hailing a 2-time winner of the Indianapolis 500 and a new national sporting hero.
Tonight is going to be fun. Like you said, a continuation of the last 24 hours of motorsport. A tight track around the back, nice and open out the front, so to speak, with these long straights. It's going to be a good one for drivers. I think the car differences will be taken out of this. And yes, a 2-time Indy 500 winner. So for those of you who are yet to watch it, it's a good race, almost till the end.
Oh my. Right, let's straighten up. It's a 45-minute race. You join us. We're 12 minutes out from the end of this qualifying session. The fast contenders are right at the pointy end, as you'd expect them to be. I've already had Marl from Jackson Rayhana saying the Merc's a dog. So will that affect Brenton Hobson's chances tonight when he's facing the likes of Emmerich Candola and Jeff Connell and Dennis Gatterick? Join us to find out, because as we say last week, the five of them, including of course Brady McHugh, the other unmentioned name there, that was top shelf motor racing. Now we should point out as well tonight.
I don't wanna give it time. I want everything the way it was before you walked in my life.
All right, everyone, we are back. Sorry, the internet died, but I think the streams are back up and running. Now I'm just loading back into the server, so I'll leave you with Zach and Nick to chat about what's coming up until we're back in.
Take two, here we go. Let's fingers crossed that it's the last take as well, ladies and gentlemen. Nice to have you covered, as I say, round 8 of the championship. We'll get to the championship points in just a moment, but we're talking about it being a 5.81 kilometre course here, the Suzuka International Racing's course, or circuit, depending upon what you read. Should point out as well, 45% fuel tank capacity for these cars. Fuel burn varies car to car because, again, the GT3 cars do vary in so many different ways. The weather, partly cloudy, 23 degrees, track 37 degrees. We're at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Japanese sim time. Again, that famous date, May 15. It's May 15 in the Northern Hemisphere, November 15 in the Southern Hemisphere. You might have already noticed that. Pace car speed limit will be 64 kilometres an hour. Pit lane speed limit will be 60 kilometres an hour. And if we do get a safety car tonight, that will certainly hamper how many laps we get in throughout the course of the race. But the provisional guesstimates have us at 22 laps. And I just want to nip this in the bud right off the top, Nick, and I'll say it again a couple of times for anyone that might tune in halfway through. You're going to see a little lap count on your screen there. It's going to be about 10 laps out. We're aware of this issue before we start. Whoever set the server up has gone 10 laps too many. But that's okay, because we'd rather have 10 laps too many than 10 laps not enough and have the race finishing after 25 minutes. So we're happy with that. So 32 laps is what it's going to say on your screen, but we're only aiming for about 22, 23 if we're lucky. Nick, this circuit, completely awesome. As we were saying before we came on air, one of our absolute favourites. You and I we were discussing it before we went off air there, and we fell out with the internet connection. And the first part of it, there are a couple of tight corners on the circuit. Obviously, the hairpins at turn 11, and the spoon curve is also a slower portion of the circuit. The chicane there at 16, 17 and 18 is another one to consider. When you look at that, the rest of the circuit fairly fast, fairly flowing, fairly smooth, but the front half of the circuit more important in terms of the technical aspects and getting it right than the back half, because the back half is pretty much speed reliant.
Yeah, you'll find, well, my prediction is there will be people flying off at turn 1. Maybe not turn 1 lap 1, but turn 1, because it's a tightening corner, it's downhill, it's braking. So you're braking and turning at the same time, which is never a good recipe. And then you got what Kimi Raikkonen calls the snake behind the pits, the left, right, left, right, left, right. That's very technical, getting your car to the apex each time. It's very critical for your lap times. And then after that, it's all pretty straightforward. You got the two Denga curves, which are like right angles almost, the hairpin. Spoon curve's actually quite technical on the second part, trying to get a late enough apex and brake at the same time to get a good run onto the back straight. Other than that, I mean, yeah, just get sector 1 right, get the spoon curve right, you should be okay. I've got the added bonus of my car's all right, but it's got really good straight line handling, so hopefully the straights can help set me up some passes.
Indeed. Let's have a look at how things are shaping at the moment. Trouble here. Jamie Welch and Ross Ponting, I think it was, coming together there at turn 1. Now, pictures coming in, you can see we're in the closing stages of qualifying, about 3.5 minutes to go. Emmerich Candola on the precipice at the 159s. 2 minutes, .009. You can't get any closer to the 159s than that. And he's only 9 thousandths of a second faster than Jeff Connell. That is incredibly tight in the race for pole position. The BMWs are going at it again, and they've got 4 tenths on Dennis Gaderick, who's got a 10th on Brenton Hobson, who has a 10th on Ross Ponting, who has a 10th on Jamie Welch, who has 0.02 of a second on Richard Hunter. That's 6th and 7th for you. I mean, incredibly tight margins here tonight. A 2-minute 0.8 for Maverick Benson, 2:01.0 for Gary Cousins. So the top 8 separated by less than a second. 10th is Michael Schreier, Aaron Cooper, Jackson Rayhana, Michael Hammond, Paul Wood, and Adam Lavis, the top 15 at this point in time. 21 cars have set a qualifying time, with Jared and Nick to burn from the stern, I would suspect. And looking forward to seeing what unfolds here. So, closing stages of qualifying, probably an opportune moment for us to have a look at the championship points as we venture into this round. Brenton Hobson, 313. Dennis Gaderick, 301. Emmerich Candola, 271. Jeff Connell, 256. And Ross Ponting, 218. 213 for Gary Cousins. Michael Schreier on 202. 199 for Richard Hunter, 195 for Paul Wood, and 192 for Maverick Benson, the top 10 at this point in time. Your thoughts on the season so far, Nick? Obviously, in terms of race wins, Dennis Gaderick is clear of everybody. He's got 4, Jeff Connell 1, Brenton Hobson 1, Emmerich Candola 1. But when it comes to championship points, Hobbo is Mr. Consistent, and that could be the key, especially here where we know that the BMW and Ferraris have the upper hand and the edge on the Mercs.
It's all about consistency, I think, for a championship run. He's just got to make sure he's in the top 5. Doesn't really matter what order, I don't think, but if he's in the top 5, he's still got a good chance. What's next? Bathurst is next, is it?
No, Bathurst is 2 weeks
away. The last one. Okay, so we've still got 2 more tracks than Bathurst. So Imola, so yeah. I reckon if I was him, yeah, push for the win, but if you can't get it, top 5 at least. That way you consolidate your lead in the championship, or if you do lose the lead, it's not going to be by much.
Indeed. And serves me right. Here I was earlier on getting all things ready for the broadcast, talking to myself, and didn't notice the messages going through our Facebook thread. So that serves me right. But anyway, good to have you covered wherever you're tuning in. Sorry about the tech glitch at the start. Absolutely nothing we can do about that. Sometimes those things are very much beyond our control, but we're looking forward to what is about to unfold here. The madness and the rush of cars to the first corner now. Obviously, our fields have been bigger than this in the past. Getting 24 to the first corner, well, we've seen Formula 1 muck it up in the past here at Suzuka, so we'll have our fingers crossed that the GT3 cars can do it sensibly. Just to give you a bit of an indication, there's about a half-a-minute difference between the F1 cars around here and the GT3 cars. If you ever needed any convincing of how fast Formula 1 is compared to the rest, there it is right there. So 1 minute 59.8. Emmerich Candola into the 59s, if you don't mind, ladies and gentlemen. The closing stages of qualifying here as the checkered flag flies. The session is done. The last laps will be logged, and then the field will be set.
We might have to put
the only one for the Lavis clan tonight. Yes, Nick.
Might have to put some success ballast on him.
Might have to indeed. Whoa! Paul Jansen's just had a big one. Rob, can we get a director's cut through from you, please, sir? As we get ready to rock and roll here. So, your early prediction, Nick? I mean, obviously the BMWs look like they're going to be hard to beat, but we've seen Emmerich and Jeff both muck up in the past when they've been in solid winnable positions.
Ooh, I'm going to say, man, it's tight at the top there. Keep an eye out for Michael Schreier. He's been on a bit of a roll at the moment.
He has.
I can keep an eye out for him. But yeah, you just can't deny that top 5 there, hey, can you?
No.
As Brenton jumps up a spot over Dennis. So,
Hobbo do a 2 minute point 225. Yeah, so he's got 2 tenths on Gaderick. What about that? What a time to pull that out. Gives him the inside run for turn 1, and that could be key.
Exactly. But you know what? Yeah, look out for Michael Schreier, look out for Dennis, I'm going to say tonight. And I reckon look out at Spoon Curve lap 1. That's when we'll have some people off the road. And no, I'm not going to push him off the road. There will be some people off the road, I reckon.
Fair enough. And obviously we wish you the best of luck burning from the stern, as you so often do. So we're expecting 22 laps. And as I said earlier, folks, and this is around the time that the internet cut out last time, so fingers crossed, touch wood, that I'm not putting the curse on it again. It is listed, you'll see it on your screen in the top left corner. The lap counter will be saying lap 1 of 32. We're not expecting anywhere near 32 laps. We're expecting 22 laps. It is a 45-minute time certain race, and the lap number was put in there somewhat incorrectly. But again, as I said earlier, better to be 32 than 12 and us sitting around for an extra 20 minutes trying to fill content. So we'll just bear with that for the moment. But yes, we are expecting a 22-lap race, maybe 23 if we're lucky. The aerial shots courtesy of Oculair tonight, as per usual. Thanks to Flash Graphics, LJ Hooker Gaindale, Central Coast Subaru, all the great people that support the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, and particularly the GT3 series. Michael Porter's in race control tonight. He'll update us if there's anything that's noteworthy. And what a day it has been in terms of world motorsport, of course. No sooner than the world was just getting over Maverick Vinales' heroics in Austria, where we were talking about the uncanny way in which James Davison finished the Indy 500 this morning, and everything else that unfolded at the Brickyard, the fact that it was held without spectators and everything else. And now we're gearing up to go GT racing in Japan, which is, I mean, there's so much to be excited about with regards to Japan and sport over the next 12 months, not just what's happened over the last week, but also the countdown to the postponed 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games. I have previously said to a friend that if we were ever to go somewhere and she was trying to sell me on Japan, I said, right, you hire the translator and we'll be fine. Because I failed Japanese at school.
I'm aiming for a top 15, no incidents. We'll see how we go.
Good luck. That's always your aim, the no incidents, because there are bonus points up for grabs there as well. So here we go. This is hugely exciting, of course. We're waiting for our front row to join us. Emmerich Candola and Jeff Connell there. They come in now. Rob, if you're there, if you can hear me, I'm going to need a director's cut from you, please, my friend. 1:59.87. Time for Emmerich Candola. Jeff Connell, 2 minutes, .018. So in the end, about a tenth and a half separating first and second on this grid. It was as little as 9,000ths of a second. Thank you, sir. And now things are looking a hell of a lot better here in the central commentary position, as they are at the Suzuka circuit in Japan. We're just waiting for Brenton Hobson to join the field. There he comes into your shot now. We are set, ladies and gentlemen. Round 8 of the GT3 series in Season 2 of the 2020 iRacing season for the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Monday Night Motorsport live and commercial-free, unlike Indy, on Do a Drift Esports right here for you. Zach Cabe and Nico Pop with you in commentary. We've got plenty to be excited about here. And post-race we'll be joined by Paul Nichols as well from the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. So, here we go. 45 minutes. The race distance as the field moves off behind the safety car. We get set for the race start here, a rolling start. The fight between Mercedes, Ferrari and BMW resumes, but it's an all BMW front row. Ferrari have won through Dennis Gaderick 4 of the 7 races thus far, but the difference between Gaderick and the rest, Gaderick's only won United States rounds, and we've got none of them left for the rest of the championship. Does that anchor him somewhat? We're about to find out. What can Brenton Hobson do? What can Michael Schreier do? We heard Jackson Rayhana before the race saying the Mercs are a dog around here and the Ferrari's about a second quicker. We'll wait and see if there's any truth to that. Green flag and racing. Monday Night Motorsport for Do a Drift Esports, the Gentleman Sim Racing Club down the main straight. 3 wide on the run to 1 already. What a start. Michael, have it on your screen there running towards the first corner. Jamie Welch as well on the inside of Richard Hunter. Everybody safely through. Looks like Candola's made a nice jump. Got the better of Jeff Connell. Oh, Richard Hunter's in the wall. Back there between turn 1 and turn 2. He resumes, but he's going to lose a truckload of positions.
Last.
He'll be stone motherless last. Whereas Michael Hammond's under pressure already from Maverick Benson. Looks like Jeff Connell might have lost some ground at the start there as well. Got muscled out potentially by Brenton Hobson. We'll check in with him in just a moment. There's Paul Wood and Gary Cousins, I should say. Paul Wood's a little bit further down the order. He's the second car behind Cousins there. Candola. Not sure if it was Hobson or Schrader that came through second there. There is Paul Wood. As I say, one position behind Jackson Rayhana and one position further behind Gary Cousins. So the two teammates there with Rayhana, the meat and the sandwich, as they head down towards the spoon curve for the first time. 5.81 kilometre course, 18 turns, 22 laps. Jamie Welch wide at the spoon curve. Nick expected some drama there, just the one car wide thus far. Michael Hammond coming up on his inside now, and James Wilkins in the wall. He'll rejoin. He'll no doubt be going to pit lane for his fast repair at the end of lap one. So not as much drama as we may have anticipated at the spoon curve there on the opening lap. Jamie Welch brings the field down towards the chasing pack, that is, towards the chicane for the first time across the line. Have a look at this. Down there on the inside. Benson on Welch. Job done. Rayhana trying to muscle his way through there all over the back of Gary Cousins at the moment, and Paul Wood behind them, 11th, 12th and 13th. Benson and Welch side by side, and Welch around the outside to take 8th back. Rayhana up the inside, muscles out Gary Cousins. That puts Cousins right in front of Paul Wood there now. Merckx very little on very little to offer at the moment here, although there are 4 of them in close succession on your screen now. So Emmerich Candola from Brenton Hobson, Jeff Connell, Ross Ponting, a good start, displacing Dennis Gatterick, Michael Hammond, then Michael Schreier. So Schreier lost out at the start, and Hammond went from 10th to 6th. Massive start for Michael Hammond here. They make their way around for the second time through the first split. Good start, Aaron Cooper. He's in the top 10 at the moment. Rayhana just behind him. That's the next target for Jackson. Watch him up here at the hairpin. He might have a crack. He will have a crack. But the door is slammed shut by Aaron Cooper right there. What an exciting start. Just to update you, our good mate Nick's already moved up from 22nd on the grid to 18th thus far. Jared Daly from 23rd to 20th, the two men burning from the stern here. Although I've just got a message on the screen here that says Jared Daly is manually disconnected. That might alert us to an incident that we haven't seen. And that's unfortunate if that is the case. There's the onboard shots with Aaron Cooper here, as I say, running 10th position at the moment. Under pressure from the chasing flotilla, the pack of Mercs behind him. Have a look at Jackson Rayhana. Cross the line, 2 laps in the book. Emmerich Candola seriously flying already. Already in the 59s, I do believe, having looked at the time sheets here, 3:59.6. He's got back to the end of the second lap in. And qualifying pace was a 1:59.8. I'm going to have to check that and see what he's managed to achieve thus far in terms of lap times. 1:59.1 and 2:04. He did a 1:59.1 off the rolling start. Emmerich Candola, what about that? And he is out to a comfortable lead already. 1.9 seconds over Brenton Hobson. Jeff Connell is third. Ross Ponting, Dennis Gatterick and Michael Hammond the top 6. You're currently watching Aaron Cooper and Jackson Rayhana in the battle for 10th. 9th, I should say now. I'm just trying to work out who they displaced there. Oh, of course, when Richard Hunter fell down the order. Jared Daly is out of the race. Michael Schreier's also had an incident. Whether that gives us any indication to what exactly happened to Jared Daly or not, I don't think it would, because they were completely opposite ends of the circuit. but Schreier is sitting down there. There he is on your screen, 22nd position now. And we completely missed that while we're watching that all-Merc battle between Cooper and Rayhana. We can tell you that Michael Schreier, after starting 6th, is down in 22nd position. That's why the battle between Cooper and Rayhana is now for position 9, not position 10, because Schreier is out of business in terms of an outright result is concerned. No safety car as yet, which means we're good to run. And this is a circuit much like Barber Motorsports Park with a lot of runoff area, so it's very unlikely, highly improbable of us getting a safety car tonight. Highly likely that we'll run safety car free, which is good news for all concerned. Have a look at Michael Hammond making a lunge down the inside of Ross Ponting into turn 1 and getting the job done. Hammond moves into 5th. Michael Hammer Time Hammond charging at Suzuka. Next target, Dennis Gaderick. Finally, we're seeing a good showing from Hammond. He's on track for a top 5. If he can continue his luck here, he's been caught up in a couple of incidents the last couple of weeks, but tonight, all guns blazing, he's moved up 5 spots in the opening 3 laps. What a good start. Nick, let's check in with you, mate. You've moved up to 16th from 22nd. Is that a good start?
Sorry, I'm in a battle.
Not being able to see that battle. I just crossed you at the wrong time, I take it. Now, Michael and Dennis Gaderick there, we're watching that margin between Gaderick and Hammond because it was 1.6 seconds. If Hammond can claw away at that, he'll have a fight for 4th on his hands very shortly with Dennis Gaderick. Brenton Hobson on his own in 3rd, chasing Jeff Connell, but they're 2.6 seconds behind Candola, who has made a habit as we go on board with Nick down here on the inside. Got the job done.
Yes, it's a good start.
That's on the 169 of David Johnson to move him up into, or actually, was that Warwick Sharp, the 222?
David.
No, it was David. I was right the first time. So that moves you up into 15th now. Very nicely done. Next target is the man in 14th, Warwick Sharp.
Sharp's been driving good the last couple of weeks as well.
Yeah, absolutely he has. The Ford GT looking an absolute treat there for Bailey's Ladders.
Awesome. Thank you.
Round onto the main straight. And no, don't thank me, thank Rob. He's the one giving you the airtime. Across the line we go. From the Suzuka circuit, it's round 8 of the GT Series. Reminder, next week, Imola the week after, a 2-hour race from Mount Panorama. We're looking forward to bringing you both live and free right here on Do a Drift Esports across Twitch, YouTube and Facebook as well. First time I've mentioned that tonight. If you haven't already subscribed to the respective accounts, do so. Don't miss a minute of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club here on a Monday, Wednesday and Friday night. So, Emmerich Candola is the race leader here. He's 2.4 seconds clear. And this is what I was getting at before Nick made his move. We're on board with Adam Davis now, who is sitting in 13th after starting 14th. Emmerich Candola's made a habit of this the last couple of weeks, hasn't he, Nick? Of getting to the lead and then going hard very early.
He wants to break them. I think he just wants to break and put a gap on them and then take it easy from that point on. We've got a car taking it slow here. I think Jamie Turtle.
Jamie Welch, yep. And actually, the right side of that car severely crunched up. Severely crunched
Well,
up.
he nearly did the left side then too.
Yep. So he's in a little bit of trouble there is Jamie Welch. He'll be limping back to the pit lane for a fast repair. And there is Emma. Oh, Warwick's had a spin at the hairpin there. We'll get back to that in a moment if we can, because we've finally got Emmerich Candola on our screen.
Yeah,
Yep.
Warwick just touched the grass. And it
that'll
looks
do
like
it every
Aaron Cousins
time.
just did the same thing on the second part of the spoon.
So the spoon curve claims another victim.
Told ya.
Not for the first time tonight. But there were 2 on the first lap, but that's important to note. How good's this? So, just getting a message here from Michael Porter. Jared Daly disconnected. So, his crash apparently caused by Richard Hunter making rear contact rear end contact at the hairpin on lap 2. And Richard tried to redress but was unable to as Daly crashed out of the service, or checked out of the server, I should say. So that explains what happened to Jared Daly. Thank you, Michael. We'll check in with you a little bit later on. I'll keep that chat window open at the moment. If you're tuning in via Do a Drift Esports, good to have you on board. Let us know who you're going for. Rick Candola leads this one. You're on board with him. Into the hairpin one more time. Lap 6. 10 minutes 1 gone in this race thus far. Again, we're on track for that 22, 23 lap marker, depending upon how much time we lose in the transit in the pit lane. And if we should get a safety car between here and the end of the race, whether if we do, we'll obviously lose time and therefore laps out of the count as well. As I say, a lot to be excited about here. Emmerich Candola. He is 2.3 seconds. So he was 2.4, now he's 2.3. So Jeff Connell's gradually closing in. Just like right. Actually, hang on, what's happened here? Michael Hammond is in trouble. He's down now behind.
He's lost several positions there, Zach. Looking
Maverick Benson.
Whoa!
Oh, he's gone round! Hammond's gone round! At 130R! Big off! He hasn't hit the wall, he'll resume, but he won't be happy. Oh my goodness me. Fastest point of the circuit. There's a car coming across the grass as well at the chicane. Shortcutting the chicane. I'll find out who that was for you in just a moment. I think it was Paul Wood. And now Michael Hammond's lost a ton of positions there as a result of all of that. It was Gary Cousins, actually. My apologies to Paul Wood. It was his teammate, Gary Cousins. I'm not sure what happened to initiate the first incident for Hammond to see him go from 5th down to behind Maverick Benson in 7th. But now he's really caught in traffic here. There are cars left, right, and centre of him. And there's a spin up. The aerial shot showed it. A car going straight to the gravel. Dear, oh dear.
My prediction is within 2 laps they should be in the fuel window, so maybe Mikey can pit and get out back on the circuit and do some hot laps.
For sure. So there was obviously that's the third incident that Hamo's been caught up in the last lap and a half. And I'm just trying to figure out. I think it might have been Chris Stark that's gone round there as a result of the contact in the S's there at turn 3, 4, 5. 2 into 1 just didn't go. There's Jackson Rayhana, the big beneficiary of all of this. He's moved up into 7th position. Aaron Cooper has finally got by him, and Paul Wood in behind him in 9th. There they are heading up the hill. Oh, you wouldn't fair to read about it, would you? The script writers are delivering a beauty yet again for you on a Monday night. So Candola by 2.4 to Connell. Connell has 2.7 then over Brenton Hobson, who has 1 second over Dennis Gaderick. Then we jump back. Ross Ponting has a second and a half over Maverick Benson. In fact, Dennis Gaderick has now got by Brenton Hobson. That's happened off screen. And Gaderick's cleared by 1.8 seconds, so Gaderick is now 3rd. We ride on board with Aaron Cooper chasing Jackson Rayhana. They head down towards the first corner. Awesome shots, awesome trackside cameras set up here by Adam Lavis earlier in the week in preparation for this round. Our first trip to the land of the rising sun in this season of iRacing. And we're having great fun bringing you all the action. Hope you're enjoying it as much as we are right here. Lap 8 of what we suspect will be 22, 23 laps as we were saying there a short time ago. So this is a note to the director as well as everybody else. When we're looking at Michael Hammond post-race, we'll have to go back and have a look around that lap 6, lap 7 marker, because obviously there's been a mistake that's seen him fall from 5th to behind Ross Ponting, Maverick Benson, and then obviously the spin at 130R, which would have been caused by, I would suspect, nothing more than Hammond trying to get the time that he lost back and just trying to get an extra 10% out of the car, but he could not get more than 2% out of more. And then obviously the incident there during the in the S's on the following lap. So 3 incidents in the space of a lap, and that's why Michael Hammond is there, just getting by Warwick Sharp now and putting himself back into 14th position in the race. In all of that, guess who's 10th? Nick.
That'd be me.
He's going. I was waiting for you to chime in. That's why I said
I
nothing.
was waving at the camera. I don't know if you guys are on me.
Well done. Going along very nicely at the moment.
2 incidents though.
Oh, well.
And I was passing someone in the chicane at lap 1, so I had to kind of use a bit too much curb.
Yep. It happens. In fact, I'll be very surprised to see how many clean races there are tonight. I'll be very surprised if it's more than about 5.
I'll say, yeah, at least 2 people.
Yeah. Across the line again. Emmerich Candola by 1.9. So Jeff Connell is coming for Emmerich Candola, who's taken half a second out of him since we last checked that margin. We're on board with Nick heading into turn 1. Just for the benefit of those of us that haven't seen you on board for a while there, Nick, the helmet is inspired by who?
Juan Pablo Montoya.
Very nice.
It's his end of 2005, 2006 F1 helmet.
From back
So
in
it's not his original one.
McLaren days.
Yeah, I like a little bit more yellow on it, so I actually quite like the design.
Hey, nothing wrong with the yellow. Very good colour, that. Underrated, I say. Should be splashed everywhere as often as it can be. Now, he took a little bit of curb there going through turn 8 into 9 on the run up to 10 now. And Nick's chasing, actually, should point out, Paul Wood and also Aaron Cooper. They are only 2.2 seconds up the road. So the Ford GT coming into its own, finally, after an interesting few rounds of the championship thus far.
I think the driver is moulding with the car quite well.
It was only a matter of time. So, Dennis Gaderick is 3rd. But the margin from him to the Bimmers in front is now over 5 seconds. And he's a lonely 3rd as well. He's got 2 seconds over Brenton Hobson. Candola leads. He leads by 1.9. Jeff Connell coming for him. He's right on board with Nick. So you've got a great mix of cars in the top 10 here. 4 manufacturers at the very least. And Ross Ponting's in a... Remind me, Nick?
Oh, hold on. Where is he? I couldn't tell you. Sorry.
No, that's all right. I'll have a look on the points here. Oh no, he's in a Merc as well. That's all right. That's okay. I was a little bit confused then.
I'm taking time out of the guys in front, but Hammond is coming, but he's still 12 seconds back.
Yeah, he'll be a while. So we've got at least 4 different manufacturers in the top 10 thus far. You got the 2 BMWs 1 and 2. You got the Ferrari 3rd, the Merc 4th. Then a flotilla of Mercs again, all the way actually down through 5th, 7th, 8th, 9th. Maverick Benson's Ferrari is 6th, and then Nick in the Ford is 10th. So 4 different manufacturers in the top 10. It's been a while since we've been able to say that. Goes to show the variety the series is improving.
I don't know where Pete Matson is in his McLaren. I was half expecting him to turn up as well.
Well, this is the thing, yeah. And this is the thing we were just talking about before we went on air, Nick. 23 starters, that's the lowest of the series thus far. I mean, it's still a good number for Monday night. Clearly a sign of 2 things. 1, it's been a big day. Some people might not be keen on this circuit. But 2, as life is getting busier, it's getting harder to get people on the grid.
Yeah, exactly. Just watching with bated breath the 2 in front of me. They're having a bit of a ding-dong every lap into the hairpin.
Just watch it with interest, because if they do end up tangling, you'll be through. Your next target will be Jackson. So, Paul Wood closing up on Aaron Cooper at the moment. We are 20 minutes into this race now. Well, it will be as soon as Emmerich Candola crosses the line. Across the line goes Emmerich Candola. That gives him 20 minutes, 6 seconds. So, yeah, the next lap by will be just on halfway. This is lap 11 now. Take into consideration the pit stop as well. So we'll be more than halfway. by the time you take that pit stop into consideration. 22 laps expected to be the journey here. Maybe a 23rd if we're lucky, but it depends very much on the length of that pit stop.
Paul Wood got through on Aaron Cooper.
So we did. While I was having a look at the leaderboard. So Paul Wood through. That's actually worked in your favour, Nick, if anything. Paul Wood getting by Aaron Cooper. 7 tenths per second back to Cooper now, and that's allowed you to close to within 6 tenths, finally, of Aaron Cooper there. So it's a four-way fight now for positions 7, 8, 9 and 10 with Jackson Rayhana leading the train. You're on board with Rayhana looking back at the 3 men I just mentioned. Wood, Cooper, Nick. How good's this? It's not the front of the field like it was last week, but we're still getting some good scraps right throughout the field. 1.1 now the margin between Candola and Connell. Connell is coming for Candola. That margin was as big as 2.43 laps ago. It's now 1.1. Jeff Connell is coming for Emmerich Candola. We'll pick them up very shortly for you. I'll be interested to see what the margin is next time by the line. There they are, coming up the back straight. That fastest point of the circuit. Right out through the sweeper. Towards the chicane. Candola doing a nice job of that at the moment. Here's this ongoing fight. Rayhana in 7th. So ahead of him you've got Benson, Ponting 6th, 5th, Hobson 4th, but 5 seconds behind Gatterick. Now, it's been a while since I've been able to say that. Dennis Gatterick is 4.4 seconds ahead of Brenton Hobson. That's massive for this early in the race. Oh, look at that. Rayhana getting unsettled with Wood all over the back of him and giving him a little bit of a touch for his trouble. Rayhana's in. Rayhana jumps the gun. He's in the pit lane. Rayhana is in. So is Brenton Hobson. So there are 2 pit stops that we need to keep an eye on are Jackson Rayhana and Brenton Hobson. They are in the lane at this point. Emmerich Candola leads. There's Michael Schreier on your screen trying to fight his way back through the field. Or is it actually, no, it's Brenton Hobson. It's Brenton Hobson, my apologies. Now, I'm just trying to point out, I'm just trying to work out, maybe Hobbo pitted the lap before, and that's why he was going down the order. My apologies there. I thought that he was in the lane then, but no, that was just Rayhana in. It's a bit hard to keep up with the iRacing server, as we say, folks. It only refreshes every lap. It doesn't have the intermediate splits, so bear with us there. Emmerich Candola, Jeff Cotter, 1.7 seconds now the margin, so Candola's extended that gap. Rayhana's rejoined the race. Down the order. And here is Ross Ponting. Doing a nice job in position number 4 at the moment. 4 seconds clear, or thereabouts, of Maverick Benson. Paul Wood, Aaron Cooper, Nico, Pop. Have a look at this. The battle for 6th, 7th and 8th. And Nick doing a nice job. All over the back, putting the pressure on at the moment. If you can get the slipstream, get the draft, get the run, he might be able to have a look under brakes into the chicane. At turn 16, 17 and then down into 18. Up the hill, he's got the run. There's no doubt about that. You're riding on board with him. The 99. 3130R on the run down towards the chicane. He's not close enough this time. But he's setting it up. He's just waiting for Cooper to make a mistake. Head round onto the main straight one more time. They'll complete lap 12. On to lap 13. Nick's in the lane. Nick is in the lane. Picked the perfect time to come in because we were riding with him. His teammate in as well. So Brenton Hobson, I'll be interested to see. I'm just going to have a look now while we've got this opportunity to have a look at Brenton Hobson's times. And just confirm as you watch Nick in the lane now. What's the strategy for the pit stop, mate, while we've got you?
Get in and out as fast as I can.
Fair enough. So
I may have short fueled, but I'm going to take that risk.
Fair enough.
I need track positioning.
True, you certainly do.
I just jumped Paul Wood.
Benson's out just in front of you, and you've jumped Paul Wood, so nicely done. Michael Hammond's in the lane as well. One car in behind him might be Adam Lavis. Now the aerial shot of the pit lane telling you the story there. Nick's back out on the circuit. 2:39.5 on lap 11, so that would have been when Hobbo came into pit. Or at he crossed the line at the start of lap 11, and then the pit stop was, so
Yeah, halfway.
that makes sense there.
It's generally the easiest way to do it. Just do halfway.
This
and
is
put,
very
Put
true.
the fuel back in that you just used.
So, down through the order. I'll run you through the order and update you on what's going on so far. Geez, there's a lot going on out there tonight. Emmerich Candola, Jeff Connell, Dennis Gaderick, Ross Ponting, and Ron Goswood! Ray Harner did well to miss that! Nick's now very lucky that he leapfrogged Paul Wood in the stop. He's gone round there at the exit of turn 7. He will resume, but the fast repair will need to be used next time he gets to the lane. In fact, because he has already stopped, so he'll be out of contention here. He'll need a fast repair to fix that damage or soldier on with it. I don't know which is going to be easier.
Emmerich
$10 in? Yep, gotcha. Jeff
what I heard
Connell in
anyway.
as well. Then Dennis Gaderick. So the top 3 all in. I think that's Ross Ponting in behind them. So the top 4 in the motor race are all in right now. And Aaron Cooper continues on. Maverick Benson's in the lane. What about this? Well, Maverick Benson was actually in the lane last time round. Sorry, folks. Again, that's the screen's just catching me out there. But talk about excitement. 26 minutes, 13 seconds gone for Candola last time by the line. But as Nick said, he pitted that time round. And
I
depending
might be a
upon-
lap short.
You might be a lap short.
Yes.
All right.
That's all right. I can save. Ross Ponting just fed out in front of me now.
True. I'll keep you posted, because once I get Emirates time across the line next time round, we'll have a fair indication of what to expect in terms of the time certainty factor here, whether we're going to get a 23rd or not.
And I just
That
jumped.
instinct is no.
I just jumped Aaron Cooper, so I've got lead on him by 6 seconds. I was 1 second behind him before, so yeah, I've short fuel compared to these guys, but we'll see.
So
I
you
can
think,
save.
you think you're only good for 21 laps instead of 22? Is that what you're telling me?
I got 9 laps in the tank now, literally. Literally, as I looked at it, it just ticked over to 9 laps.
Okay, so you're on lap 13, so that gets you 13, 14, 15, 16,
I could
17.
make
That gets you to 21 and you fuel, so you'll have to fuel save, yeah, there's no doubt
Yeah.
about that. Right, 26-13, as I say, last time by the line for Emmerich Candola. There's Jackson Rayhana under pressure from Jamie Welch, 9th and 10th here. Nick's still sitting in 8th, and Aaron Cooper is there with them as well. Oh, so much yet to play out here. Lap 14 for Emmerich Candola, lap 14 for Jackson Rayhana. Through the spoon curve. Reminder, of course, we'll have the results from the Pro-Am and the Am split after this race, because they're happening simultaneously at the moment. I know Chris Whittaker will be looking forward to pre-qualifying for the next pro season of the GT3. He's not with us tonight. He'll be watching on the road. I think he's heading Gladstone to Rockhampton or something like that tomorrow, so we wish him all the best. He's not with us in any server, and he will miss the stock car race this week. Duty calls, as they say, but I know he'll be looking forward to the next round at GT racing, particularly going toe-to-toe with that man on screen, Jackson Rayhana. And if not, he'll be talking rubbish with us in the commentary box, and I know he'll be looking forward to that as well. Emmerich Candola, 28 minutes 50 seconds last time by the line. Jeez, that's going to be touch and go. That is going to be seriously touch and go, because the way I see it, that's 16 minutes and 10 seconds. So that's 8 laps and maybe a 9th.
Oh, don't say that.
So I hate to be the bearer of bad news, my friend, but it might be 23. We'll monitor it closely. Because
Yep.
if he's lapping 201s consistently, it is going to be like hairbreadth sort of stuff as to whether we get a 23rd lap or not. And I said that right from the outset, but I wasn't thinking that it would be that tight. The pit stop window was, left us with a real interesting equation here. And Nick won't be alone because everyone will be banking on 22 laps. And if we sneak a 23rd out, there'll be some clutching on that last lap. Don't you worry. And Jackson Rayhana still under pressure from Jamie Welch here. So the corrected order at the moment, it's pretty much shaken out the way we thought it would. Emmerich Candola, 2 seconds clear of Jeff Connell now. They've got 10 seconds over Dennis Gaderick. Brenton Hobson in behind Gaderick, but the margin there has come back to 1.5. So Hobson's gained during that pit window. Maverick Benson is 5th. Ross Ponting, Nick, then Aaron Cooper, Jackson Rayhana and Jamie Welch. That's, of course, 9th and 10th the battle you're watching here at the moment. And have a look at Welch ranging up on the outside, wants to have a crack. Tucks back in, thinks better of it. They go through 130R. They run down to the chicane. And Rayhana a little bit later on the brakes there. Now, I've got some news coming through from Michael Porter. Hammer Time had a spin and crashed out at the sweeper, which we saw on the screen here. He lost the rear on his own at 130R, and that was fine. But obviously there'll be an investigation into the incident after that, I would suspect, between him and Chris Stark, although I did read something here from Starkey that suggested it was netcode. There's been a chat in the official thread here. Race control, I got tagged, but it was poor netcode. So don't issue a penalty was the word from Starkey, which is great sportsmanship all the same. But now we're having a look at some more information here that tells us that both Hammer and Stark have manually disconnected, so they are both out of the race. So that's happened while we've been going through the pit stop sequence, the pit stop window. And to be fair, oh, have a look at this, Welch wanted to get up on the inside, but that would have put him on the outside for the next corner, which is turn 11. That was never going to work. Rayhana holds the spot for the moment. Position number 9. Nick, you're still sitting in 7th, but can you fuel save long enough?
Yeah, I reckon I can do it. I've been fuel saving every other bloody week, so...
Well, this is right. As I say, you might have to fuel save 2 laps here because I'm looking at the clock and it's touch and go. It's very much touch and go. If Candola can keep lapping in the 2 minutes / 2 minute ones, you get a 23rd lap here tonight, an extra one for your buck.
If he hasn't got any pressure, he might slow down and let the timer tick over just as he gets to the line.
Possibly. 32.52.418 was the last time by the line for lap 16. Rayhana under pressure from Welch still. So, I'll be interested to see. David Johnson's right down. Welch is in the lane. So Jamie Welch is in. Whether that comes back to incident points or whether that's a routine pit stop, I'm not sure. I thought he'd already stopped. A bit hard to know when I don't have that information on me, folks, who's stopped, who hasn't. We try and make notes as we go along here, but it's not always easy to do. Now, Emmerich Candola, 2.3 seconds over Jeff Connell. Dennis Gaderick in behind, and then Brenton Hobson, but it's clear that it's a BMW track tonight. The BMWs have just pulled away with this one. Hobbo, Benson, Ponting, then Nick, then Cooper, then Rayhana, then Jamie Welch, Paul Wood, Adam Lavis, Gary Cousins, Paul Jensen, Dave Farrelly make up the top 15, then Michael Schreier, James Wilkins, Warwick Sharp, Richard Hunter, then David Johnson. They're the only ones left. No Michael Hammond, no Chris Stark, no Jared Daly. They're all out. And Daly out very early in the proceedings. Hammer Time and Stark 3 laps ago. And to be fair, Nick, we love Michael Hammond's enthusiasm and we love his driving and we love his work in every other series, but it just hasn't gone to plan in the GT series, has it?
I think he'll be choosing a different car. Even though the Audi is based on the BOP currently, is supposedly the favourite, I think he'll choose a different car.
Fair enough too. Yep. Oh boy. So Emmerich Candola still leading this race. Here's that battle between Maverick Benson and Ross Ponting now. So this is 5th and 6th. in the car race, and this is the first real positional battle we've got going here. Just 0.7 of a second separating them at the moment. As they cross the line, it's now 0.5 of a second separating Benson and Ponting is charging. So it's Ferrari v Merc here in the battle for 5th. And to be fair, just going back to top it off with Michael Hammond, it started to unravel with that first mistake that we didn't see, which triggered the second incident that we did see at 130R, and then whatever's happened there in the S's, which we believe was netcode, but it was just all starting to unravel very, very quickly. Again, it's one of those things that once you make a mistake and you start trying to chase it and salvage it, it all goes to the proverbial. So, better luck on Wednesday night for Michael Hammond. Ross Ponting still giving Maverick Benson the hurry up here at the moment. Now, it's interesting to note that both these men sit inside the top 10 of the championship, I do believe. Ross Ponting, 218, and Maverick Benson 192. So Ponting's 5th and Benson's 10th in the standings at this point. So good to see that consistent performers are being rewarded tonight with a potential top 5 finish up the grabs here, particularly for Maverick Benson. Brenton Hodgson, the next target for these two, but he's 11 seconds up the road. So this is strictly a fight between them for 5th. And do they have someone chasing? Yes, they've got Nick, but Nick's 4 seconds down the road and already worried about fuel saving. All right, and the closer we get, well, this is right. The closer we get, there's 8 minutes. Last time by the line, just to give you an indication, Nick, Emmerich Candola, 8 minutes and 6 seconds to go. If he keeps lapping 201s, we get that 23rd lap that no one wants. And that could be very, very interesting. We shall wait and see. In fact, let me just check while you watch the ocular aerial shot doing its work here, showing you the battle between Jamie Welch, Paul Jansen. Jansen's off the circuit, into the wall, big time! That's a massive crash for Paul Jansen. I think it was as a result of contact with Michael Schreier.
He said something on the radio, so I dare say it was.
My goodness gracious me. It wasn't small contact either, it was massive. Jamie Welch is up the road from this fight. Michael Schreier, in trying to there's no point in Michael Schreier trying to redress that because Paul Jansen's not going to get that out of there in a hurry. He's trying to redress and waiting for Jansen to come round, but he's going to lose half a minute in the process here. It might be viewed favourably in the steward's room, but it's just going to compromise his night completely. He's let James Wilkins through. So Dave Farrelly's moved up into 14th in all of that. 13th is Jamie Welch now. James Wilkins got by Michael Schreier. Warwick Sharp comes through following them. But Paul Jansen, you can forget about it. That car's heading for the pit lane. So bad luck to all and sundry there. But it was just the smallest bit of contact between Schreier and Jansen. It unsettled Jansen's car quite significantly and catapulted him off into the tyre wall. And he's lucky he found the tyre wall where he did, or otherwise he'd be driving into the crowd right about now. There was an opening, and he found the opening perfectly, but thankfully the tyre wall stopped him from continuing on. He got the corner of it. Across the line, Maverick Benson still holding off Ross Ponting, the margin 0.5 of a second. There it is on your screen. Emmerich Candola leads by 2.3 seconds to Jeff Connell. Dennis Gaderick is 14 seconds off the leader. It's a BMW night to savour here. Emmerich Candola's looking good for his second win of the season, folks. And of course, next week we head to Imola, which Dennis Gaderick feels might be a good circuit for the Ferrari, but I don't think any of the Merc drivers are going to be confident going there after what we've seen tonight. And the BMWs, well, they'll be quietly just licking their lips and getting ready for another iconic Formula One Grand Prix circuit in this series. We've already had two. We've already visited the Spa-Francorchamps circuit in Belgium. That was round one. We then went to Silverstone a couple of weeks ago on the back of Formula One's British Grand Prix. Now we're in Suzuka, Japan, and then we go to Italy and the Imola circuit, the Autodromo Enzo e Dino Ferrari, next Monday night, 8 o'clock. Michael Schreier in the lane, and I would suspect
Penalty.
that I will. Yeah, I was going to say I was waiting for the memo to come through from Michael Porter to suggest that that's what had been going on, but it was, the writing was on the wall. I don't like making, where I can, I don't like making comment on those sort of situations, but you kind of got the idea pretty much straight away that that's where it was heading, given the fact that he was unable to redress and that Paul Jansen was heading for the pit lane. What about this guy? Emmerich Candola, the number 10, in complete control here. This has been a dynamo sort of performance. 4 minutes and 3 seconds left in this race. The last time by the line, I tell you what, you won't get any closer than this.
Can you tell me to slow down?
I haven't got the power to do that, you know that. But if I could, I would, but fair dinkum. Let me have a look, since we're here, since we're talking about it. Talk about Emmerich Candola's times. The last couple of laps, 2:01.3, 2:01.2. Fair dinkum, I tell you what. That's let's average that out to 4:02.6, because that's what it equates to. And where were we on the race time?
40:57.
I'll tell you what, yeah, but it was 0.552. So 4:02.6 actually gets you over the line by 1/10 of a second to 45 minutes. Can you believe how close we're cutting it, how fine we're cutting it tonight? This is insane stuff. But Emmerich Candola's driven beautifully tonight. He's pretty much led from the outset. The only time he wasn't leading this race was when he was in the lane, serving his compulsory pit stop, of course, to fuel up to get him home. And he's not looked like being challenged tonight. With no disrespect to Jeff Connell, it's just been a class above sort of performance from Emmerich Candola. He's going to come down into the chicane here, or as they call it, the Casio Triangle, according to the Wikipedia map, and across the line we go, another lap in the books. Now, where are we time-wise? 42.59. I think we're going to be okay, Nick. I think you're going to be okay. 42.59.1. So he would have, I'm sitting here talking as though everything's all hunky-dory, but I've got a memo up here that's saying the live video has ended. So I don't think we're actually on air at the moment. So I'm just going to keep continuing on, and if something's happening at Rob's end that can get us back on air and let us know what's going on, then
we're back on.
We are back on. We're not on Facebook, but we're on Twitch or YouTube. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, I can see YouTube is still running, and Twitch is running.
Okay, for our YouTube and Twitch audience, it's great to have you on board. Tough luck, Facebook, because the live video has ended. Memo is on my screen there at the moment. I watch the Facebook feed every week, as you know, to get the comments as they come through, and that's where we're at. Oh dear. Yeah, Michael Porter just commenting that the feed's gone as well, so he's obviously watching through Facebook too. Dead set. Telstra, give yourself an uppercut. Fancy annoying Rob that way. Ruining our fun as we go along here. What a great night. Emmerich Candola getting the job done, as I say, 45 minutes, .828. He was so close to having to do another lap, which wouldn't have been good for anyone, because it was a fuel race there for all concerned. Now, Maverick Benson come home 5th, Ross Ponting 6th. Nick got home in 7th. Nicely done from 22nd on the grid. In fact, biggest mover in the field tonight was our mate Nick. Very nicely done. Aaron Cooper, Jackson Rayhana and Paul Wood made up the top 10 there. So Merckx filtered right throughout the top 10. I mean, there were 5 of them. Hobson, Ponting, Cooper, Rayhana, Wood. But none of them getting the bacon. And Adam Lavis at 11th, Gary Cousins 12th, Jamie Watts, James Wilkinson, Laser Dave Farrelly made up the top 15. Richard Hunter from that early race incident came back to finish 16th, but didn't go a lap down. 17th. for Michael Schreier, 18th for Warwick Sharp. Paul Jansen and David Johnson 1 and 2 laps down respectively, and down behind them Michael Hammond, Chris Stark, Jared Daly, non-finishers I should say. In all of that, there's a replay of what's going on here from the Pro Server tonight race, 45 minutes and 0.828 seconds. There was nothing in it between being a 22-lap race and a 23-lap race, and there's Richard Hunter's early race excursion into the wall on replay for you. Yanni Satori's in here, so too is Paul Nichols, so too Adam Lavis, so too Dylan Gray, so too Jackson Rayhana. So welcome to the post-race show. We are, as I say, streaming across Twitch and YouTube still, but our Facebook feed is down. The internet strikes again. Paul Nichols, welcome to you for the first time this evening.
Thank you. Welcome. Hello, everyone. That was a cracking race in Split 2. Really good fun.
Looking forward to... I'm just opening up my link that you sent through right now to have a look at the results here. Excellent night in the top server. I'm looking forward to hearing about the AM server as well, but we've got the Pro AM to talk about before we get into the Pro. Yanni's got another win. Richard Mitchum in behind him and Ben Miller. Cracking race up front. 2.5 separating first and second, so similar winning margins actually between the Pro Split and the Pro Am. It was 1.6 in the Pro and 2.5 in the Pro Am. 15 seconds back in third place was Ben Miller, then Curtis Williams and Paul Nichols in fifth. No wonder he was sharing the results so quickly. But you were a minute off the pace there, Nico.
It should have been a P4. I underfueled the car by about half a lap. So
you did a nick.
I made
it though.
Yeah, well, I made it home, but only just. It was coughing over the line. I had to save about half a lap of fuel there at the end. But anyway, all good fun. It was a great race.
A 22-lap race there as well.
I was going to say, might be my next tutorial, how to fuel save. Actually, no, I don't want to share that with everybody.
That's a trade secret. You don't share that.
Not at all. Gentlemen, welcome in. Good to have you on board. Sorry, the screen's playing up here on me a little bit, but I'm with you now. So we've got Yanni down the bottom. Yanni, this is becoming a regular occurrence for you. I dare say you'll be joining the pros next season.
Yeah, it is becoming an occurrence, and I'm looking forward to joining the pro league.
Good work, man.
I mean, Richard was right on my tail the whole race. I think the biggest gap we ever had was about 4 seconds, and that was going into, in laps and out laps of the pits. So, it was close up the front. We were really consistent. So it was literally whoever made the mistake would have got that position. So it's a good race tonight. Really enjoyed it.
Looking forward to getting the AM results through from Paul Nichols just to see which car won which split, because we've got Yanni winning. And correct me if I'm wrong, but are you in the Ferrari or the Audi there, Yanni?
I'm in the Ferrari.
Ferrari. So Ferrari winning the second split, BMW winning the top split. Be interested to see how things played out in the AM split, but I'm sure Paul Nichols and Nico Pop will be onto that for us very shortly. Suzuka, great circuit to go racing.
Yeah, it's a tough track, and I think we've been doing. So me and the team have been doing a lot of the VRS practices, and the track temp was a lot lower than what the server was tonight. So that just threw a massive curveball because the track wasn't as quick, but and it wasn't as grippy. So it just adds to the fun, really.
Indeed, it does. Sorry, I was listening to everything you were saying, but I couldn't talk back because my body's just giving out on me, and I had to have a yawn. And it's been a very long day with India now. But let's talk about the final two rounds, because obviously you're in prime position now. Yes, you've still got a little bit of pressure coming there from Ben, who finished third tonight, but things are looking good if you can keep it on track and keep it consistent over the next two rounds. Imola and Bathurst.
Yeah, that's right. So it'll be some close racing. Imola can be a bit of a tricky track as well. Probably not as tricky as Suzuka, but always fun to go around there. And Bathurst 2 hour, anything could happen there. So that'll be good fun as well.
Indeed. Adam Lavis will be crunching the championship updated standings for us over the next 10-15 minutes. We'll let him do that while we talk to the drivers here, and we'll get those results to you very shortly. We missed having Adam around last week because we weren't able to do that live on the spot. So it's great to see how things have panned out as far as that series is concerned. Now, let's throw it around. Obviously, I'll come back to Paul Nichols later because he's muted himself for the moment, so he's obviously going to top up the old wine and get ready for the post-race show properly, because as soon as we add alcohol to the situation, folks, all hell breaks loose. He's back with us now. Paul, talk to me about your race, mate, because as you say, you come home in the top 5 there. Obviously very happy with that, and clearly the Suzuka circuit is one that you're a fan of.
Yeah, so I did a bit of practice today, which I normally don't do. So I got home from work and did some practice and found a good setup. So, yeah, I think I was running in 4th or 3rd at some stages there. But, pit stop strategy didn't work on that occasion. Had to let Curtis go in the end. But, yeah, really good fun. Cracking race. Really good, respectful driving up. They had a really good start to the race with Parry having a good battle. But I'm not sure what happened to Parry in the end. But it was a lap down, so...
For sure. Hey, just an idea that I want to float around as we go here. And I think I mentioned it earlier in the season as well, Paul. We're now in a legitimate position where we don't have a hell of a lot of cars in the top server. And I'm not sure what your total field number was tonight. I think it was only 18, 19.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So with 23 in the top, 19 there, surely there must be some discussions being had behind the scenes to combine the Pro and the Pro-Am split for the last round, considering A, it's 2 hours, B, it's more of a show, and C, it's backwards.
And we can fit 62 cars on track. So I think I was thinking about that today, thinking we want to have a full grid. So I think that will be the plan. 62 cars on grid. We'll probably still run an amateur split if people probably run the top 2 splits in one server and then an amateur split that anyone wants to drive in that. But the broadcast, I'm thinking we should have Pro and Pro-Am together.
I like the idea. It makes more work for me, but then again, more cars is easier work as far as I'm concerned. Yanni, just quickly before we let you go, mate, obviously the difference between the first round and the last round is 75 minutes extra track time when we get to Bathurst. Do you like the shorter races, or are you really looking forward to that long one?
I do like my endurance races. I love my endurance events. I've done a few 12-hour, 24-hour races where you drive for an hour, 2 hours non-stop, and really enjoy those. It's all about concentration and sticking on track, keeping your incident points down, and getting to the finish. And
not for the first time, Paul has answered a question that wasn't directed at him. I was actually talking to Yanni there, Paul. Sorry. Go, Yanni.
Go, Yanni. Sorry.
No, that's all right. It's all good. It's all good.
Thanks,
yeah,
Paul.
I think basically it was going to be a similar response, to be honest. It's not about it's not about straight line speed. It's about getting to the end. So it will be interesting. I do enjoy both. Like we had great fun when we did the practice enduro a few weeks ago, and that was I think I drove for 2 hours, so it was good fun. But yeah, it's different type of race that'll be. It won't be all about straight speed. It'll be getting to the end, making sure you get your pit stops right, and trying to keep it out of the wall.
And as someone in that Pro-Am split, the thought of coming up to play with the boys in the Pro split, is that something that's crossed your mind now that we've been talking about it?
Yeah, definitely. I was having to think about it during the week. I was going to make the suggestion. I think Parry actually came up with the idea to see if it might be an option, because big track, heaps of cars. That's what you want to see, really.
Absolutely, and plenty of room to move. I mean, not so much in terms of the concrete barriers, but in terms of the
not across the top, but no. I'm sure we'll manage.
Indeed, we will, mate. Well done again. Another easy win. Obviously pushed for a fair chunk of the way, but you got home in the end, and that's the main thing. Ferrari looking good in the second split. Good luck next week.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
And Paul, I think given that you and Yanni were basically going to say the same thing, I can refer to you as the psychic now.
Thank you.
Yeah. Dennis Gaderick, let's go to you. Third tonight, mate. We knew this was going to be a tough circuit. By gee, those BMWs were good.
Yeah, mate, they just absolutely drove away. Well, I mean, it's all right. It's all right. Every track has its advantages, and it's good. I saw Amber at 0 incident points and kind of just drove away. And, mate, good on him. Absolutely.
And I'll be looking forward to actually getting the incident point penalty counter from either Nick, who's not in our chat room at the moment, and also Paul. I'm sure they're looking at that and crunching the numbers right now. Tell us about your race, mate, because in the end it was a battle between you and nobody, if I'm perfectly honest. It looked like a fairly lonely 45 minutes for you once you put some distance between yourself and Brenton Hobson on the other side of the pit stops.
Yeah, exactly. My I think there was a bit of a thing going on with my crew chief. He wanted to put in 72 liters of fuel, which would have made me do another race. I was like, no, mate, I'm not doing that. I'll just do the 45 minutes, thanks. And I came out. It was something like 2 seconds or 1.5 to Brenton. And yeah, he was really coming at me, and yeah, unfortunately, he sort of got unstuck himself. That Merc looked really difficult to drive this race, and yeah, it's sort of props on him for sort of being where he was, really. But yeah, no, I had nothing for the top guys. I was just running my own race and just trying to, just not get any incident points, essentially.
How were you on fuel at the end there? Because we were a second either side of having to do a 23rd lap. The race time was 45 minutes, 0 seconds, 0.828. If it had been 44 minutes and 59 seconds, 0.828, you guys would have all been going around again.
Yeah, well, to be fair with you, I was fine. I finished the race with 2 laps of extra fuel because, like I said, my crew chief sort of just decided to be a bit of a nutter. But he probably maybe even smart decision, to be fair. But yeah, no, I was fine on fuel. It was just more the race pace I was lacking, essentially. Just need to get a bit more talent in me.
Now, next week, Imola, is that a circuit that's going to be more to the Ferrari's liking?
Well, to be honest with you, I have no idea anymore. I thought the Ferrari was going to be ultra quick at Suzuka, and sort of it turned out to be a BMW track. So you know what? I'm just going to keep my predictions to myself. We're just going to see how the car goes, essentially.
The old fence sitting routine's been wheeled out in round 8, ladies and gentlemen. Interesting to see how it goes anyway, Dennis. Stay there, mate. I'll come back to you very shortly. Let me just quickly go to Curtis Williams, because I just noticed that he's jumped into the commentary booth as well. He was fourth in that race that Nico was talking about. And by the looks of it, you had his measure in the end. He unfortunately couldn't go with you in the closing stages. Could our mate Nico?
It's actually interesting because I was battling with Paul earlier on his tail, and I was really worried, obviously, about the whole pit stop thing, because clearly crew chief was telling me lies like everyone else. And when I came around the corner and saw the white flag, I thought, okay, great, 1 lap to go. I had 2.5 laps of fuel left, so I was pretty happy knowing I was going to get around. And then next thing you know, I could see, good old Paul up in the distance, and let's just say he was driving Miss Daisy, trying to conserve fuel to get around to the finish line. So obviously he did, which is good. But I'm super pumped, to be honest, because I qualified down, I think, in 8th, and finished the highest Mercedes in Pro-Am. So for me, the season is getting better, which I'm pretty proud of, because it's my first season. I think I'm coming 7th in this series. So yeah, it's just good for the up and comers and you guys into it.
Indeed it is, and it's also good for the show that we get to broadcast. The more cars on the grid, the more entertainment, etc. and so forth. So there's plenty of different circumstances to take into consideration there. As far as the next 2 rounds are concerned, what are your thoughts on that initially?
Well, to be honest, I haven't driven Imola before, so because I'm reasonably new to iRacing, a lot of the time it's downloading the track for the first time and trying to get a few laps in during the week. I did a few VRS for Suzuka this week, and I thought I did pretty well. But clearly having Yanni at the front all the time, and Ben, those guys was always chasing their tails. So one thing I'm learning is definitely more focus on consistency rather than trying to be fast. And it's clear those guys got both of those attributes. But no, I can't wait for the next 2 rounds of next season.
Apologies to those of you that have been watching on Facebook. We invite you, if you are still interested, to go over and join us on Twitch, or even better, YouTube, because we've had a few technical issues tonight, but we're still pressing on with our post-race show as per usual. Obviously, the Facebook feed will be up and running again later in the week. Apologies for that. Nothing we can do. Curtis, thanks for coming in to have a chat to us, mate. We appreciate that. And obviously, we're looking forward to hopefully seeing you as part of a combined Pro and Pro-Am field when we get to the mountain in a couple of weeks.
100%, mate. And just a quick shout out to you for putting on a good broadcast and just being there, every week. I've got the missus sometimes jumps on and watches it. So I really appreciate you putting the time into it. It's awesome.
No problem at all. We're happy to do it, and it's not just me, obviously, but also Rob and the rest of the team as well. But no, we appreciate that people are tuning in. We apologise that you haven't got someone better looking or better sounding to listen to, but we're pressing on as best we can. Good on you, mate. Thank you for dropping in and having a chat to us. We appreciate
What's it called, Zach? It's a face for radio. Is that what they call it?
Head for radio, that's it. Yeah,
that's the one.
Yeah. And I've made a career out of that for 12 years. So let's keep running with it, shall we? Jackson Rayhana, Ross Ponting first. Jackson Rayhana then after that. Ross, let's say well done because you were in a terrific scrap there with Maverick Benson for much of the second half of that race. You've come home in 6th place, mate. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it was a good race. Unfortunately, the same issues that plagued everybody else. Crew chief thinking the race was 32 laps instead of 22. Looks like someone might have made a small typo when they set up the server.
Yes, don't blame me.
Of course not. But the result was that crew chief refused to put anything less than a full tank in for me, which cost me about 2.5 seconds in the pit stop. And unfortunately, I'm pretty sure I would have come out in front of Maverick, and it would have been a different result, or it would have been at least spectacular.
Yeah, exactly. No, it was a cracking scrap. We couldn't take our eyes off it there for about 3 or 4 minutes. We had our eyes peeled to the pair of you because we knew that one mistake either way, and the battle was over. And obviously, had it been Maverick slipping up, you would have found a way by, but not to be. You obviously take some confidence out of that result, though, because in terms of the championship, I'm just having a look at the updated points here. By the looks of it, Adam Lavis has already got them done. You're now sitting in 5th position in the championship, so you've got a real opportunity to cement that over the course of the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's kind of been just the plan has always been just to finish the race without crashing. That's always been the idea. And I'm looking at the results going from 9th, didn't run 9th. Up to getting 5th, 6th, 7th. Pretty much just by driving smoother, being more consistent, taking it easy, and just dialing it back a little bit has really helped a lot. So it's gotten me a lot of bonus points. I think the last 5 races have been 0 incident races.
On the subject of that, well done to Dennis Gaderick with the 0 race as well. And I'll explain why I'm saying that in just a moment because it has implications as far as the championship is concerned. Ross, obviously, same question that I asked Yanni earlier. What are your thoughts on the longer races? Because obviously next week's 45 minutes, but the week after's 2 hours. What's the... how much extra preparation goes into the longer race for you, and do you prefer the short sprints or the extra length of the 2-hour enduro?
I didn't have a good result last season on the 2-hour Bathurst one. I made a stupid mistake on the last corner and pretty much took myself out of the race. I'm looking at the situation as the shorter the race is, the fewer opportunities there are for me to make a mistake.
Yep.
But at the same time, that's the case for everybody. So I do enjoy the long races, but I haven't really had a whole lot of experience with anything longer than about an hour. So I guess we'll find out. Indeed
we will. And of course, the ultimate risk v reward factor with Mount Panorama is when you look at the last 2 circuits we've been to, whole heap of runoff area, Bathurst, polar opposite. So I've just had a brain fade there. Sorry, folks. I was going to say the potential for running into trouble or drama or danger is a lot higher.
Yeah, it's a much less forgiving track, not only for your own mistakes, but for the mistakes of people ahead of you. So I'm kind of a little bit wary of that. I've had a good run for the last few races, but they have been tracks where if I did make a mistake, I could get out of it without hitting a wall or even going off track a lot of the time. Bathurst could be a different story.
Indeed. Let's throw it back. Oh, stay there, Ross. We'll come back to you shortly, mate. Let's throw it to Jackson Rayhana now because I ran with one of the comments you made in Discord before we went live. The Merc's a dog, and it set out and proved it. I mean, still 5 of you in the top 10, but none on the podium.
Yeah, good evening.
Hello, mate.
Yeah, look, I did a bit of practice in it today. Not much, because I actually didn't think I was going to make tonight because I had work. But thankfully got home in time and made the race. So, it's first of all, happy with that. But yeah, it was toward the second half of the race there, it was definitely a challenge, for me in the Pink Pig.
Yeah, indeed it was. And of course, the car looking spectacular as per usual. For anyone that needs any reminding, Racing Point, think Formula One on a Formula One circuit. So it actually blended in quite nicely tonight. Your race, mate, cracking scraps. We're watching one on screen there now, obviously with Jamie Welch. You had a cracking scrap also with Aaron Cooper. You had a great scrap with Paul Wood and Gary Cousins at a point as well. So all the Mercs were kind of glued to each other.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, hats off to those guys. They drove incredibly cleanly. I tried to drive as cleanly as I could. Got a little bit defensive at some stages because I definitely knew that Jamie had some pace underneath that BMW. Man, they were flying tonight. But yeah, no, it was good. I'm pretty happy that I managed to finish where I did, considering the lack of practice and just the fact that I really didn't enjoy driving the Merc too much. I give you an idea. I did a small practice session in the Ferrari today as well, just to compare, and definitely liked that a lot more, and was a fair bit quicker too.
We did mention that actually, about a second, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. I get this many notifications from Discord and the Gentleman Sim Racing Club chat thread during the week that I don't always pay attention, but I paid particular attention to that one earlier today. I thought that's a thing to note because it obviously sways the advantage towards Ferrari and BMW tonight. And as we say, 1, 2, and 3 on the podium. BMW 1, 2, and Ferrari third. Then it was Mercedes, Ferrari, Mercedes, Ford. What a great performance from Nick there in 7th. We'll get to him shortly. Mercedes, 8, 9, and 10. And then Adam Lavis in 11th. Gary Cousins 12th. So again, BMW, Mercedes, Jamie Welch there as well. So a lot to be excited about there as far as BMW and Ferrari are concerned tonight. And obviously consistency the key for the Mercedes pilots because it wasn't a track that they had a chance on, unfortunately. Jackson, I'll come back to you shortly. Dennis, well done, mate, because with obviously 4 wins already this season and then the clean race tonight, the margin between yourself and Brenton Hobson is now single digits coming into the final 2 rounds of the championship. It is, I've got the updated standings here, courtesy of Adam Lavis. Thank you very much, sir. 350 for Brenton Hobson, 345 for Dennis Gaderick. Have a look at that. 326 for Emmerich Candola, 298 for Jeff Collin, 258, my apologies. I found the one smudgy spot on the glasses and read a 9 as a 5, or a 5 as a 9. So 258 for Ross Potty makes up the top 5. 242 Gary Cousins in 6th, 9 points back to Maverick Benson. Locked on 226 points, Michael Schreier and Paul Wood, 8th, tied. Richard Hunter, 224, rounds out the top 10. Adam Lavis has got up into 11th, which is where he finished tonight. He is 217. Jackson Ray Hunter, 3 points back on 214. Then Aaron Cooper, 210, and then a long gap back to the rest. 165 for Dave Farrelly, 162.5 for Jamie Welch. Make up the top 15 there at this point in time. The point situation is quite an interesting one, but all eyes are on Dennis Gaderick and Brenton Hobson with 2 rounds to go. Can you get the job done, Dennis?
Maybe only time will tell, I suppose. Yeah, I'm kind of... I don't want to put too much on Bathurst, to be fair with you. It's double points and kind of... But unfortunately, it just seems like it's the one that it's going to go down to. Yeah, we'll see, obviously, at Imola. I'll probably put a little bit in, more practice than I probably normally would for that one there and just sort of see what I can do. But yeah, the Bathurst is going to be the scary one because, if there's no difference between us and it's double points and 0 incidents are going to matter, sort of where you finish is going to matter. And I'm not keen for it, to be fair.
And it's so hard to get a 0 incidents race over 2 hours at Mount Panorama.
Exactly, which is what I was thinking. It's like could be a thing happening there where least incident points gets the bonus 5 points. So that's just my thing. And to
be fair with you, incident points having 0 is what helped you out tonight because Brenton had 15, according to what I'm reading here from Adam Lavis. So big news.
He had a bit of a solid race there. Actually, to be fair with you, because I think he was trying to have a zero incident race as well, and we were about the same pace. But then he made a bit of a mistake into turn 1 where he ran wide. And after that, he started just reeling me in. So yeah, he obviously sort of started, going a little bit wider, cutting a little bit more, and he started gaining more time. So yeah, he definitely went for the overall pace after that 1x. So yeah, it was really interesting. Really, I didn't think about it too much, but at the same time, I just realized how much time there is in just running a little bit wider and cutting it a little bit shorter. And it wasn't anything too much, but it was just enough to give a 1x essentially. And yeah.
0 incidents for Emmerich Candola, 0 incidents for Maverick Benson, also Ross Ponting inside the top 10, and 0 incidents for Adam Lavis just outside. So 5 drivers ended up with no incident points in the top 11 tonight, which isn't too bad given some of the pushing, shoving and barging that was going on in the early laps. Nick, finally, the Ford puts on a good showing. You've got it inside the top 10, mate. You've got to be happy with that, despite the fact that you've got a couple of incident points to your name.
Yeah, look, it was on fire. I had to jump. Who did I have to jump? Aaron Cooper, Jackson, Paul. Those guys were in front of me, and I was closing in on them.
Yep.
And I thought, you know what? Bugger this. I'll have my hand ready to unclick the fuel as soon as I feel that it's got about 35, 36 litres on it. Unclicked it, and then I started leaving pits, and I was right up behind Maverick. I was like, oh, okay. I might have really short fueled this. I jumped Paul, jumped Jackson, jumped Aaron. So from that point on, I was just managing the gap behind to Aaron. I was losing Ross and Maverick in front by about half a second to a second a lap. So it was just had to manage the gaps, and that was that.
And I'm already going to call it. Driver of the night has to go to, well, it has to be a split. It has to be an even shared points vote between Nick in 7th for most positions gained, 22nd to 7th. And then it also has to be Emmerich Candola for getting it absolutely perfect when it came to the time certainty factor. 0.8 of a second after the mark, which prevented everyone from having to do an extra lap. That's pretty damn hard to do at the best of times, and to do it that tightly, everyone would have been breathing a sigh of relief, not least you, who was fuel saving at the time.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Oh, thank you to him for timing that really well.
Oh boy, it was a fantastic race, great fun as per usual. Dennis Gaderick's jumped out of the service, so we won't be able to go back to Dennis. In fact, we're going to be wrapping it up pretty shortly tonight, folks. It's been a long day. We're all a little bit tired after the Indy 500 this morning, but more so the point that a few of our top 5 haven't come in to have a chat to us. No Emmerich Candola, no Jeff Connell, no Brenton Hobson, no Paul Nichols at the moment either. I don't know where he's nicked off to. Dylan Gray was sitting in here ready to have a chat, and he's disappeared before we got to him as well. Talking points out of the night, there weren't too many. There were a couple of crashes that we covered off during the race. I think you'll see one of them shortly between Michael Schreier and Paul Jansen. Actually, there it is. Bang, right on cue. Off goes Jansen into the wall.
Wow.
And see what I mean? Like, yeah, he clean parked it straight in between the tyres. If it had gone through, he'd still be driving to the other side of Japan right about now. That was incredible. And that was just one incident. Michael Hammond, an off night for him. That was worth noting. In fact, Michael Porter didn't pass on any more notes from race control with regards to Hammer's incident there, but obviously with him and Starkey both retiring, it kind of balanced out, if you know what I mean. Obviously, Stark and Daly retiring as well. Daly caught up in an early incident with Richard Hunter, and Richard Hunter caught up on lap 1. He did well to come back and not get lapped. He finished down there in 16th, just ahead of Michael Schreier, 6 seconds, in fact, ahead of Michael Schreier. So Hunter without a penalty, but with an extra pit stop, and Schreier with the penalty, 6 seconds in the end, splitting them. But 2 guys that you'd normally expect to see in the top 10 having a shocker of a night, and Michael Hammond not finishing.
Yeah, it was one of those nights where just things were going well for some people, things weren't going well for others. It was just, if you look, there's quite a few zeros in the top half of the field, 0 incidents. So
yeah,
it was about keeping clean and keeping the car on the black stuff rather than the green stuff.
For sure. I'm looking forward to hearing the outcome of the chat that goes on between the committee members about having Pro and Pro-Am in the top split for the Bathurst Enduro in a couple of weeks' time. Nick, what are your initial thoughts on that? Obviously, we had a big field there last time around.
Well, yeah, I can only see it, personally, I can only see it running as all together for such a long race. the AM
Even
split
the
has
AM
been,
split as well.
yeah, I see.
Yeah,
Put it
okay.
all together in my opinion. The AM split, they do like to have their own race, and they don't like to be hounded and being lapped. However, I think for part of their development as well is just be on the big stage, on the big track. Might as well.
For sure. Hey, Nick, I'm going to go and talk to Jackson here for a moment, but if you can track down the results of the AM split for us, I can run through them and the championship standings as well. Jackson, Rayhana, since you are there, big week this week, obviously. Montreal, Canada is the scene on Wednesday night, which I know you're looking forward to. And then Friday night, we're off to the mountain for the Proddies and the stock cars. And the universal vote earlier in the weekend was that we should ditch the GT4s and go back to TCRs.
Absolutely loving that. Everyone made the right decision there, I think. But yeah, no, look, excited for Canada. It's a track that I do enjoy it. It's a street circuit, and I love a street circuit. So it'll definitely be a challenge in the Formula Mazdas, and I think it'll be a great way to round out the series in that car.
Beautiful. I believe Nick's just shared me a result sheet here. Yes, actually, that's the Pro-Am, Nick. So if you can just...
right, my apologies.
Yeah, that's all right. No, we've already... it's a good thing we're following... we're watching the notes here as we go. But we'll get to... Actually, I'll once I update the AM results, I'll update you on Pro-Am and AM championship points as well, folks, because Adam Lavis has actually finished them off for us as well, and we greatly appreciate that. And I've got another question that I want to ask Nick along the way as well. Stay there for me for a moment, Jackson. Adam Lavis, let's go to you firstly, mate, and say well done on 11th. Looked like a fairly lonely race at times there.
Yeah, no, I was pretty busy in that first stint, keeping with the boys, and it was basically a freight train. I was in basically a Mercedes DRS train. Just couldn't get close enough in the spots I needed to, so followed them for ages. Then we had the pit stops, and then came out, and there's a pretty decent gap to Woodsy in front of me, and Hammond managed to get in front of the second group. And I thought, well, he might catch me, and then he crashed or whatever than him. So then I was like, oh,
yep.
And then it was just a matter of consolidating my 0 incident points and getting that bonus.
And you did very, very well in regards to that, and obviously 5 of the top 11, you being one of them, with no incident points. Your thoughts on the rest of the week as well, Adam, while we've got you, because obviously stock cars and the mountain, you get 2 cracks at it this year, in this series, I should say. A sprint race and then obviously a little bit longer one in a couple of weeks' time. Are you looking forward to that?
In the GTs, yes. The stock cars last year, that was probably the hardest race I had in the stock car. I could not, over the top and the crest, I just couldn't get that throttle modulation down. But yep. I've had another 10 weeks of 10 weeks of experience, so maybe I'll do better this time. That's the hope. So hopefully we can keep those top 10s going.
And flying the Lavis banner as well. Now, actually, I have to say thank you to you as well, Adam, because you've sent through the AM Split server here, I believe. So I'm opening that up now. Just bear with me here, folks. Here we go. AM Split results for you. Looks like it might have been a BMW on top, actually. I'm just trying to work out the...
It's a Mercedes, mate.
Oh, it is Mercedes? No, see, I have to zoom all the way in to make out the car.
You just hover over it.
You hover over it, it'll show you a silhouette of it, yeah.
Oh, right. So you do. Thank you, boys. Nicely. I'm learning this iRacing stuff all the time. So that's interesting because we had BMW winning top split, Ferrari winning middle split, Mercedes winning third split. Here are the results. Luke Turner from John Merritt and Michael Angus. Matt Dunphy in 4th, Michael Martin in 5th from Brock Kelly, Eric Thorpe, Stephen Robertson, Jared Smith, and Chris McHale. The AM split field, would you believe it? 28 of those guys tonight. So a real good turnout of AM split drivers for a 22-lap race there as well on the Suzuka circuit in Japan. Standings look like this across those two. We've already run you through what's happening in Pro-Am. Yanni's got a clear lead at the moment, almost unassailable, but double points might change the equation there. 342 playing Andrew Goldman, 255 and 240 for Ben Miller. Josh Forer on 234 points, so 113 points. Sorry, 108 points, my apologies. 342 plays 234, 108 points separating first and fourth there. But the interesting thing here, 4 different manufacturers because you've got Ferrari, Audi, BMW, and Mercedes. Parry and Aristarchus 5th, 229.5. 227 for Curtis Williams, and so too Daniel Birchnell. 220 for Luke Gathercole, and Paul Nichols on 203 with Rick Vincent on 199. In the AM split, and we're getting the wind up here because of the high, really unusual number of tech issues we've had tonight, so bear with us, folks. We'll be done in 5. Michael Martin, 224, leads that AM split by 3 points over Matt Dunphy. Stephen Robertson, 202. So 22 points separating the top 3, which means it could go either way once you get to Bathurst in the double points format. David Riddell, 194. Brock Kelly, 192. Luke Turner, 179, who, of course, won tonight, as we said there earlier. Doysan on 169, 154 for John Merritt, 152 for Michael Angus. And Glenn Cedar Riddell needs to learn to drive the right bloody car, 146.5. And that's the comment coming from Adam Lavis as well, folks. You said to us in the chat thread here, he'd be winning his series if he chose the right car, and that's catching him out every week. And you have to question why. The old pick and stick rule. I thought it would have been clear as mud.
Go on, Adam.
Oh, well, yeah. It's just maybe he didn't know about his stick and stick rule. Maybe someone hasn't told him yet, but or he's just happy to get the results. He's not worried about the championship. But yeah, mathematically, he'd be leading the series if he'd done the last 4 or 5 weeks in the same car he started with.
All right. Fantastic stuff. Jackson Rayhana, I'd love to stay and chat more, but obviously we're going to wrap things up a little bit early tonight. Thanks for dropping by to have a chat, and we'll catch up again on Wednesday when hopefully technology wants to play with us.
All good, mate. Good night.
Look forward to seeing you Wednesday. Obviously, Nick, the other question I was going to ask you before we go with regards to the GT series, it's going to be interesting now when we look at the last 2 rounds, that interesting battle between Gaderick and Hobson. But looking beyond that, pre-qualifying for the next season is going to be just as interesting as well, because there'll be some names like Chris Whitaker coming back to the fore. Trent Lavis will hopefully be a little bit more available. It's going to be good fun.
It's going to be action-packed, to say the least. There's going to be cars everywhere. As always with the iRacing, every series starts strong in the first couple of weeks and just starts to fade towards the end. Hence why we've done all the things like Bathurst and Phillip Island towards the end to try and bump up numbers at the end there of each series.
Indeed, and obviously Bathurst the draw card. Now, on that subject, next week in the Wednesday night and the Friday night portions of Do a Drift Esports Motorsport, we've got member votes. How's the member vote going apart from Bathurst and apart from Phillip Island, because we've already done that as well? Where are we going? Do you know?
We're finalising that tomorrow night, actually.
To get this. So it's been a good night. I think we might leave it there. There was one other thing sitting on my mind, but I've forgotten what it is, so I'll remember it and write it down for Wednesday night. It was something to do with this series, but we'll have to come back to it. Again, apologies for the tech issues. Nothing we can do about Telstra. And that's not an endorsement, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. This has been a presentation of Do a Drift Esports Motorsport for the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club, and we're looking ahead for you. We've got a lot of great motorsport to look forward to, obviously, on the back of a great weekend of motorsport. Next on the agenda is a trip to Canada and the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal for the up-and-comers on Wednesday night in the Pro Mazdas, followed by, of course, GT4 and TCR. That will be from 7:30 Eastern Time. That'll be coming your way live. Looking forward to that. Robert Hazeldine will be directing and producing the broadcast. Yours truly, Paul Nichols and Nico Pop in commentary. Friday night, 6:30, the doubleheader goes to Mount Panorama. So, again, we're trekking all over the world at the moment, leaving our United States base and trekking all over the world. Australia on the agenda on Friday night for the second week in succession. Mount Panorama, the trip number 1, actually. There's about 4 of these trips coming up across the 3 different nights, and that'll be for the production cars at 6:30 and the stock cars at 8:05. And we hope you'll join us for our 3.5-hour broadcast there. On the back of that, we turn our attention to next Monday night. We go to Italy for the first time in a while, and we go to the Imola circuit, the Autodromo Enzo E. Dino Ferrari, for the penultimate round of the season. Just 5 points splitting Brenton Hobson and Dennis Gaderick, and it is Oh, it's going to be fantastic. Actually, that's exactly what the question was, Nick. Your thoughts on the Gaderick and Hobson battle now, because we know that the Mercedes was so strong when we got to Bathurst last time round, but everyone's been whinging and you know what about the Mercedes being somewhat hamstrung by the latest balance of performance updates within the iRacing server. Does that bring Hobson back to the field when we get to Bathurst?
Oh, it's a hard question to answer.
I like to finish with the hard ones.
It's all I know is it's going to go down to the wire regardless. That's how it's been planned. In terms of strength on that track, I mean, with the new balance of performance, it kind of makes the waters a bit murky. So,
yes,
something we won't be able to tell till the end of the next Monday.
And well, the practice and quality session, yeah, when we get to Bathurst, it's going to be very interesting indeed. So, Imola, the next stop next Monday night for the GT Series, Bathurst the Monday night after, and it will be an earlier start for that final round of the season, which means Zach will be watching home and away on delay, but that's okay. I'm getting used to that in readiness for 6 weeks away now. Hope you've enjoyed our coverage tonight. We're going to leave it there just before 10 o'clock Eastern time. We've been on air on and off since 8 o'clock, and we look forward to doing it all again next week, when we bring you Monday Night Motorsport for the Gentleman Sim Racing Club right here on Do a Drift Esports. A reminder, if you want to get involved in the fun, the group page on Facebook, the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, go and check that out. Chat to Nick and Paul and all the other great committee members, and they'll steer you in the right direction of how to join the fun. And we look forward to your company Wednesday night for the up-and-comers into what should hopefully be a cracking TCR GT4 race, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, Montreal, Canada. So Canada, Australia, Italy, all on the agenda in the next 7 days on the back of our Asian trip tonight. Hope you've enjoyed that. For Central Coast Subaru, for Oculair, for LJ Hooker Game Day, and for Flash Graphics. As I say, this has been a Do a Drift Esports Motorsport presentation. And on behalf of Nick and the team, I'm Zach Caben bidding you a very good night. Thanks so much for your company, and to Paul Nichols as well, who has disappeared like Harold Holt. We haven't found him. I don't know where he's gone. Obviously got something to attend to there. He didn't even say goodbye. How rude. Look forward to your company again on Wednesday when hopefully technology wants to play its part. Apologies for the tech issues tonight, but thanks for sticking with us until we see you on Wednesday. Have a great week, everybody. Zach Caben bidding you a very good night.